historians will be debating for decades, centuries, perhaps. But there are some assertions that we can already make. The polls were wrong. For one thing, on average, going into election day, they had predicted that Hillary Clinton would win the popular vote by about 4%. The early voting analyses were wrong, too. Most of them said that Trump was too far behind in Florida to win that pivotal state. And journalists, myself included, were wrong. We mistakenly trusted the polls instead of what we saw before our eyes. Huge crowds turning out for Donald Trump at rallies all over the country. The Clinton campaign, which as late as Monday evening was expressing a high degree of confidence, was also wrong. Meanwhile, Trump, I hate to say it, was right. He achieved the Brexit-style upset he had promised, riding a surge of turnout among white working-class voters to carry the key southern states of Florida and North Carolina, put a scare into the Clinton campaign in Virginia, and then stormed across the Midwest and the Rust Belt, breaking through Clinton's so-called blue wall, and picking up Iowa, Ohio, Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, and perhaps Michigan, which, as of early Wednesday morning, still hadn't been officially called. Trump appeared to be heading for more than 300 votes in the Electoral College. I should note here that, with many votes on the West Coast still to be counted, it is still possible that Clinton will wind up the winner of the popular vote, according to the New York Times' live forecast, which incorporates the latest voting numbers. Her margin of victory will be somewhere around 1%, but in the Electoral College, which doesn't apportion votes directly in proportion to population, big Democratic states like California, Illinois, and New York get a raw deal. According to some estimates, Democrats need a 2-point victory, or thereabouts, to reach 270 votes in the Electoral College. In this case, as it was in 2000, that handicap was too large to overcome. Pending a fuller analysis of the voter returns, any conclusions must be preliminary. But at least 5 other factors seem to have been key to Trump's victory in the Electoral College. First, despite all the talk of his lack of campaign organization, Trump's base of white working-class voters turned out in large numbers. This trend, first visible in western and northern Florida, extended all the way up the East Coast and then spread across the Midwest. The Times' Nate Cohn and his colleagues were among the first to point to this trend. Early on, Cohn said that the votes Trump was stacking up in Florida counties with a lot of white voters could be enough to fend off the expected late surge of Clinton voters from Palm Beach, Broward, and Miami-Dade counties, and that these numbers would have implications in other parts of the country, too. So it proved. According to the network exit poll, Trump carried white voters who don't have a college degree by a huge margin, 67% to 28%. Since these voters still make up about 40% of the overall electorate, they gave Trump a very solid base. Their support enabled him to make progress in lower-income white Democratic areas, of which, until yesterday, there were still many, such as Lackawanna County, Pennsylvania, where I watched Trump speak on Monday night. In 2012, President Obama carried Lackawanna County by 27 percentage points. On Tuesday, Clinton won it by just 3.5 points. That was a stunning shift. Second, Trump appears to have done better than expected among college-educated white voters. Going into Election Day, the Democrats had been confident that they would carry this group for the first time in decades. According to the network exit poll, though, this group voted for Trump 49% to 45%. In Pennsylvania, which both sides regarded as a crucial state, the effect could be seen in some of the affluent areas surrounding Philadelphia, which the Clinton campaign had been helping to carry by big margins. In Bucks County, for example, Clinton beat Trump by just 0.6 percentage points, a smaller margin than President Obama achieved over Romney in 2012. The third factor was that, in some parts of the country, Clinton failed to rack up the margins of victory she needed among minority voters and the young. Take African American voters. According to the network exit poll, Clinton got 88% of the black vote. That was obviously a strong performance, but in 2012 Obama got 93%. Perhaps more surprising, Given Trump's comments about immigrants, he appears to have fared better than Romney did with Latino voters. The exit poll indicated that 65% of Latinos supported Clinton, while 29% voted for Trump. In 2012, Obama got 71% of the Latino vote, and Romney got 27%.